It's a real privilege to be introducing this film tonight. It's an exceptional film in many, many ways, and I think you will all agree that the writing and the direction is exemplary. So I would just like to introduce you to the film's director. It's his third film as director, following Gone Baby Gone and The Town. Of course, he's incredibly well known and highly regarded as an actor, and he does an amazing performance in this film as well. Will you please join me in making him welcome Ben Affleck?
And it really is an honor to be here. This is one of those festivals when you're young as a director, you think, you know, one day I'll have a movie at the London Film Festival and I'll walk down the red carpet and, you know, I'll be there. And it'll all be real, and it feels real tonight, and it really is a tremendous honor. So thank you all very, very much. I want to briefly acknowledge some folks before I introduce some other folks. The first thing I want to do is thank, we've got some of our producers here tonight. We have Graham King is here, and a little round of applause for Graham, and Shay Carter is here. Thank you, Shay. And I also want to thank Grant Heslov and George Clooney, who are not here, but who nonetheless have my love. Yes, give him a little hand. He's George Clooney, after all. And I want to thank, you know, Warner Brothers has an incredible team, and people say that, it's usually cliche about the sort of folks they work with, but we really have extraordinary people working here under a woman named Sue Kroll, whose gifts are enormous, and whose compassion is profound, and whose love for movies is extraordinary, and I want to thank her. I want to thank Veronica Vandenberg, and I want to thank the entire team that has worked really hard to help get this movie out there, because if it wasn't for them, no one would see this movie internationally, and that would be a great disappointment to me. So thank you all. Let's give them a round of applause. And I'm really lucky that tonight I'm joined here by two extraordinary gifted actors who I learned a great deal from and who I was fortunate enough to have in the movie, and you'll see that if you see the movie. I want to introduce John Goodman and Bryan Cranston.
Ben, I'm going to ask you just to tell us something about how you came to make this film. Once you are yet to see it, but it feels like a film that is entirely fictional in many levels, but it's based on a true story. So could you tell us how you came to it?
Yeah, briefly, this was you know, a story that had been declassified by the CIA, found by a magazine writer, sold to George Clooney. They made a screenplay out of it, and it was sent to me. And it just amazed me. It was a true story. It was a comedy. It was a thriller. It was a complicated spy movie, and it was something that, as you can see, I thought could attract a really, really interesting cast. So I jumped all over it, and I called George and said, listen, I really want to do this movie. This is how I would like to do it. I talked to him on the phone for several hours, and ultimately he said yes, I think mostly just to get me off the phone.
It is incredibly impressive the way that it traverses those tones, that real thriller element and the comedy that runs through it. John, I'd like to ask you, you know, as an actor coming to it, did you look at the whole, or given that you are, you know, very much in the sort of comic vein of the Hollywood story, were you just kind of concentrating on that part of it?
Well, I was, first of all, led to believe I was going to be able to meet Mr. Matt Damon.
That's coming. Well, you're going to meet Matt. Don't worry.
No, I looked at the whole thing and see how my little piece could fit into it, as one does. You know what I'm talking about.
And could you tell us a little bit about working with Ben and what that experience was like?
He's incredibly intelligent and a very gifted storyteller, and very generous with his money. Very generous.
Makes up for his unfortunate bad looks.
Yeah.
That's it.
But yeah, he's pays incredible attention to detail, and that was very comforting on the set, because I don't.
And Bryan, can I ask you about your character? Did you actually meet the character that, or meet the man that your character is based on?
My character is a composite character. He's from a lot of different people at the CIA. I was fortunate enough to go to Langley, Virginia, and talk to a lot of CIA officers to glean what I can about their culture, about their sensibility, about who they are as people, and and how that affects their personal life and relationships and that sort of thing. And it was enormously helpful to be able to get like a baseline of where to portray that guy. And then Ben and I talked at length about the relationship that he and I have in the movie, and just basically what my section, the CIA section of the story, what it's to fulfill.
And Ben, when you were working on it, did you choose to engage with a lot of the real people from the story?
Yeah, we did. We had a lot of the people who were really part of this, who were willing to work with us. Tony Mendez, who's the principal character, who the movie's seen from, who I play, worked with us in developing the script. He was there on the set. He was there in Toronto at the premiere. He's been fully engaged. There are 6 we call house guests, who are people who are hiding out in Tehran. One of them is still working in Sudan. The other 5 visited, worked with us, were involved with this. So, and we had other folks as well. A few of them are no longer with us, but for the most part, whoever we could find and get, we used, because these resources, it's not like doing a period movie from 200 years ago. You have people who are still alive who can give you intimate personal details of what happened, and we wanted to make sure that we exploited that.
Well, I think that's a very good cue to roll the film, and will you all join me in thanking and congratulating our guests for the film you're about to see.
Thank you all very much.
Thanks.